Good morning, everybody. This is Kate Quigley from the United Way of Connecticut 211. Thank you so much for logging into the webinar this morning. We're very excited to present this information to you about our 211 Navigator. We would also like to thank any of you who are on today that have tuned into previous webinars that we're offering this fall. We actually have a few more coming up in the next couple of weeks. And if you're interested in registering for those, you can go to the professionals page on our website, 211ct.org, and there's a specific section for outreach and training where you can register for upcoming webinars, or you can listen to previously recorded webinars. So we've done a lot within the last 6 months or so check that out when you have some time. Today, again, we're going to talk about the 211 Navigator. I am very excited to present the host of our webinar today, my colleague, Emily Breed. She's our Training and Quality Assurance Lead Coordinator here at 211. And I'm going to pass the baton to her in just a quick second. Just a bit of housekeeping. All of you that are participating right now are muted. We will save time at the end for some questions and answers. So once Emily has concluded the presentation, I will prompt everybody if they have questions to type them into the chat box. So we'll get there in a little while. So without further ado, thanks again for tuning in, and I'm going to pass it to Emily.
Thanks, Kate. So as Kate said, my name is Emily Breed, and I'm going to talk with you today about the 211 Navigator. So start here. Okay. So I don't know how many of you have been on our website, but this is kind of what our website looks like when you sign in. And we're not going to necessarily go over how to use the website at this point. I'm pretty sure we have another awesome webinar that talks about that. But we are going to talk about the Navigator. Some of you may have used it before, some of you may have not even known it existed, and that's why we have decided to do this webinar. So just a few things about the Navigator. It is free, it's user-friendly, and we're going to do a demo of it so that you can kind of see how easy it is to do. It's anonymous, so they're not going to ask any information about a person's name, address, no identifying information. It takes about 5 minutes to complete, possibly even shorter, depending on, how quickly you're able to go through the questions. And the whole point of it is that it screens for multiple public and state assistance programs. So we'll go over the different programs that those are, but as an example, that would be like food stamps or energy assistance. They ask a series of questions. First, they ask about the person that's completing it. Then they ask about the people in your family. So do you have a spouse? Do you have children? And then they're going to ask information about your income. And that's because most of the programs, public or statewide, are going to be based off of household size and income. And this is just, it doesn't necessarily mean that the person has to have their exact income in front of them. They don't have to have their pay stub in front of them to do it. They just need to be able to give an estimate so that they can determine what they might be eligible for. So then once they fill out the questionnaire, it's then going to produce a list of possible programs that you might be eligible for based on the answers you give. It's also going to give links to our e-library papers here at 211, which is a paper that kind of was created to explain a lot of different programs, and those are also located on our website. And then in some cases, you're going to actually get some links to the actual application so that you could go straight from doing the Navigator to applying. So the Navigator, I would say, is pretty good, especially for those people, sometimes you will maybe have people that you work with, or maybe even for yourself, you just have that question of like, I know there are programs available throughout the state. How am I supposed to know what I'm eligible for? And you might not even know what you're looking for. So it's not that you're specifically looking for a, like, I need help with this. You're just saying, I just want to know if there's anything extra out there that could help me. So this will kind of determine whether there are those things pretty quickly. So here are some of the things that the Navigator will screen for. So all in all, it screens for 23 federal and state assistance programs. Like I mentioned, you get food stamps as one of them, Medicare, utility assistance, WIC for people with children, disability, so a whole bunch of different ones. Some just general statistics for using the survey. In September of 2018, so we don't have our October numbers yet, but for our September numbers, there were 335 Navigator surveys completed on the website, which is a great number. We were able to get just some basic demographics. Like I said, we don't get like personal information, but just some basic demographics from what people put in. 32% of the people that completed it identified that they had a disability. 9% identified that they were pregnant or recently pregnant. 43% identified that they were employed, and 97% of individuals that completed it were the ages of 19 to 59. So for the year, the full year, September 2017 to September 2018, the total number of Navigator surveys completed for the whole year was 4,681. So that's a pretty impressive number, I would say, and it shows that there are people that are using it. So hopefully by this, even more people will use it. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're gonna, now that I kind of explained a little bit of what the Navigator is, we're going to do a demo so that you can see how it works. So I'm gonna go onto our website. So just give me a second here. Okay, so this is our website. And like I was stating, I'm not going to go over everything about the website, but what Kate was mentioning about the professionals, if you wanted to look up another webinar, it's right up on the top here. And the e-library papers that I was talking about, they're right next to it. So on our website, all of this over here is kind of how you search for things, but when we're talking about using the Navigator, it's all the way down near the bottom. So you scroll past all these pictures, and then here we have a little section that says additional benefits. And right on the left-hand corner, you're going to see something that says 211 Navigator. And so I'm going to click into it. Okay, so here is what it looks like when you click in. And it kind of just gives you a little bit of the same thing that I was explaining to you, that they're going to ask you some questions, that they'll tell you the programs, and again, they don't ask for name, address, or any other identifying information like ID, social, nothing like that. So once you've read over that, you're going to start by clicking here. Okay, so here is the beginning of the survey. So the first question is, do you live in Connecticut? So they do give you two options, yes or no, just so that you can see if for some reason somebody were trying to complete this and they didn't live in Connecticut. When you say no, you get a little pop-up that explains that unfortunately the Navigator is only available for Connecticut residents. So we're going to go back to say yes. So, and I'm just going to do, a test case here so you can kind of see how it works. So I'm going to say that I am 36. Now, the next question is residency status. So we do have U.S. citizen, permanent resident, and then asylee refugee. I'm going to pick U.S. citizen because I would say that the majority of the people that use our Navigator are. But, I mean, you can obviously pick whatever works for the person. And then, do I have a spouse or partner living with me? I'm going to say no. So we already filled out the first page. So then I'm going to click on next. It says next, go to family. So the next question is saying, well, how many children under the age of 18 live in my house? And I'm going to say that I have 3 children. Okay, so then I'm going to start to go to this next question, but it actually stops me before I do that. And hopefully you saw that it added a whole new question. And it's saying, are any of the children living with you under the age of 5? And I'm going to say yes. Okay, so then on to the question that I was starting to answer before. How many adults living with me do I claim as a dependent on my tax return? I'm going to say, since it's just me and my kids, I'm going to say none, 0. And then the next question is, do I or any adult living with me have any kind of disability? Now, you will notice that some of the questions here will have a question mark next to them. And that is basically so that if you were going to say, well, what do you consider a disability? You can click on the question mark to get a little bit more information. So in our case, we consider anyone that has a disability to mean that the government has determined that you or anyone living there has a physical or mental impairment that prevents substantial work and will last at least 12 months. So it has to be more of a permanent disability than, say, like a temporary thing because of a surgery or something like that. So I'm going to say, do I have a disability or anyone else? I'm going to say no. Is anyone in my household currently pregnant or has been pregnant in the last 12 months? I'm going to say yes, that one of my kids is an infant. Okay, so now I've completed 2 of the sections, and so now we're on the last section. So am I currently employed? I'm going to say that yes, I am. So when I say yes, I get all more questions that pull up. So the next question says, how much money do I make before taxes and other deductions? Again, there's a question mark that explains it. So it's talking about your gross pay, not your net pay, not that take-home pay that you get after taxes. Again, it doesn't mean they have to have the paycheck right there, but at least it's letting you know to think of, you know, what is your paycheck before all of that, or at least an estimate of that. So I'm going to say that I get $800. And how often do I get paid? Again, it's going to be, they give all these things. So I'm going to say that I get paid biweekly, but anyone can put whatever they get. So if they are getting paid weekly or biweekly, or let's say that they already are receiving disability and they're getting paid monthly, you know, they're able to put that in. But I'm going to say biweekly for this example. Okay. So then, do I have any income from sources other than employment? I'm going to say, so that could be things like any other federal assistance program. Maybe I'm getting pension. Maybe I have some self-employment. Maybe I am getting child support. You know, all of those things would be other income. For the purpose of this, I'm going to say, let's see. If I were to say yes, then it's going to say the same thing. How much is it and how often? So let's say that I get another, I don't know, I don't get a lot. Let's say I get another $100 weekly from child support. So now, how am I filing my taxes? Well, it's just me. So I'm going to say that I'm filing single. But there is the option of joint as well if you were married or you were filing that way. So I'm going to say single. Now, the next thing that it lets you do is it lets you review your answers. So I'm able to make sure that I put everything correct. You know, it says 36, I'm a U.S. citizen, I live in Connecticut, so all of this information that I already put in. Now, let's say that for some reason, when I look at it, I say, oh, you know what, I'm actually really not getting that child support, $100 a week. I'm supposed to, but I haven't got it in like a year. So let's say I'm like, okay, let me just take it out. I can click on it again, and I can fix it. So I'm going to say no instead, and then it will disappear. So now we're going to review again. So now I say, okay, this is correct. And then I'm going to submit the survey. So when I submit the survey, now I get this list of different programs that I am eligible for or can be eligible for. Again, I shouldn't say that I am eligible for because I don't specifically, I haven't applied, but it looks like it based off of what I've given. So the wonderful thing about this is that then let's say that you were to click in. So I'm going to click into food stamps. And so it's going to say, okay, the food stamp program helps low-income households buy food. And then I have two options for this, and not everyone has two options, but for food stamps it does. So it says click for more information or click for an application. So if I were to click for more information, that's going to bring me over to the e-library paper that we were talking about. So here's all this information. How do you apply? What documents are needed? Are there any asset restrictions? I know one of the questions that we get a lot here in 211 is, are they going to put a lien on my house? The answer is no, not for food stamps. So, you know, all of those questions are answered in the library paper. And then if I were to go back and I were to say, well, now that I know that and it looks like I'm eligible, I want to apply right now since I'm already on the computer. So if I click for an application, well, here it is right here. So you can print it up. I'm not sure if you can type in it. I don't believe so. So you would still have to print it up, and you would still have to send it over to the DSS scanning center. But at least you have it right here. So you don't have, you know, to worry about requesting it, or let's say that you don't want to go down to the office directly, or you're having trouble with filling it out online and you want to fill it out this way. Or maybe you just want to look at it to see what questions do they ask, and then you can go back and do it later. So, yeah, so that's the whole point of this. I'm going to get out of this for a second. I'm going to get out of the library paper. Okay, so, oops, sorry, went ahead. So that's the Navigator. Again, all of these have different things, more information about WIC, more information about the Energy Assistance Program, school lunch and breakfast, Care for Kids. You know, all of these have different things that pop up. And then there's also the option to give feedback. So if after you complete the questionnaire, you want to give us feedback about how you felt it went, you can absolutely do that. And then let's say that you were curious to say, well, I know the programs that I was eligible for, but what other programs are there? You can click on the programs and you can see every single program, again, the 23. So the next thing I want to show you is actually a sneak peek. So in the next month or so, we will actually be unveiling a new 211 Navigator. It's going to be exactly the same as this one, except that it's just going to have a new look. You're still going to be able to find it the same way that we found it here at the very bottom of the 211 website. So no different URL, nothing different. It's just going to look a little bit different. So I'm going to go to it now. So this is just a prototype. So it's not completely like up and running yet, but like I said, it should be up and running by the end of this month. So you can always check back and try it out again. So let's see. So we're going to go to the benefit screener. Oh, I can go like this, just so that you can see that it looks basically the same. So again, it has the same questions. So if I were, just, I'm not going to do the whole thing, but just so you see, same thing that I put. I live in Connecticut. I'm 36. I'm a U.S. citizen, and I don't have a spouse with me. So, and then here's the questions again. And again, if I were to say I have a kid under 18, it actually is going to put two different questions. It's going to be a little bit different, but the same sort of idea. Any of the children living with me under 13, I'm going to say yes. And then again, any of the children living with me under 5, I'm going to say yes. So again, it's the same thought process. The reason that we have the under 13, I believe, is because of the school lunch and breakfast program. So that's why it's separated between the two. So, and the question marks are here again for the disability. So that's the same. And so let's say that you filled it out, you're going to get the same things again. And then if I were to go back, just again, this is not the full thing up yet. So I'm going to click where it says programs. And so here are all the programs again. And so if I were to click on Food Stamp SNAP, there's the same thing. Click for more information, click for the application. So it's going to be the exact same thing that we had before. So this will be up and running soon. And so we just wanted to show you that. And that's really it. So I'm going to give it back to Kate for a minute. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Emily. That was an awesome demo. Thank you so much. So for the next moment or two, we're just going to take a quick pause, and I'm going to check and see if anybody has questions. So if you do, I invite you to go to the chat section in the webinar software where you logged in. I'm going to take a moment and look at that, and we'll see if anyone has questions. And if they do, we'll read them out, and then we'll provide the answer. So for just a quick moment, think about if you have any questions and type them in, and we'll be back in just a second. All right, so it looks like that there are no questions at the moment, which is totally fine, and makes me completely believe that Emily covered everything in the demonstration. So if after today you do have follow-up questions about resources or e-library papers or the Navigator or searching our website, you can drop us a line at our Information Services Department group email. So that's the unit that I work in. You can email us at info@ctunitedway.org, and we would be happy to help you with any questions that you may have. So we're going to conclude the webinar now. Thank you all again for tuning in. If you would like to share the recording of this webinar with your colleagues that maybe weren't able to tune in today, we'll go back to our homepage just one more time, and I'll just point you to where to find that. So on 211ct.org, if you click Professionals, and then right here on the right, Outreach and Training. As I mentioned up front, you can look at upcoming webinars. You can request a webinar. So if you or your colleagues or your staff want a demo on how to use the Navigator or navigate our website, you can request that of us. And then the archived webinars are where all of the previously recorded presentations and trainings live. So in just a little while, probably by the end of the day today, Emily's webinar will be here on this list as well. Okay, so we hope everyone has a great day. Thank you again, and hopefully we will be providing more training to you soon. Thank you.